Hello and welcome to the August 2018 update from Clydebridge Station. Almost all the work on the layout this month has been concentrated on the station side of the layout, which is the south side, with just a couple of small additions on the north side of the, on the east side of the layout. So I'll talk you through these changes, and if you have any comments, queries or suggestions, then please put them in the comments box at the bottom, and I'll look forward to them. Thank you very much for watching in advance, and on with the programme. In video 9 of this layout, I was showing you where I get some of my ideas from, and I mentioned a copy of BRM magazine, which had a layout called Davenport Road, and it focused, part of it focused on some track to the area beyond the station, and in the background was they'd made up a stand for a football club, Davenport Rovers. So that gave me an idea, and this is what I've come up with here. We've got the back of a rugby union ground, because rugby union is my favourite sport, and we've called the club Clydebridge Central Rugby Union Club. And I've made up some signs there, and it tells you it's Concord Stadium. Now I've called it that because it's a sort of a take on the Concord Oval in Sydney, which hosted the epic 1987 World Cup semi-final between Australia and France, France winning at the 11th hour. And we've got details of the next fixture, and we've got the company sponsor for this season. I could have chose any company. I've went for one of my favourite clothing brands, Wrangler, so I've chosen that. The signs are made on computer, except the Wrangler logo, which is a copy and paste job from Google Images, and the signs of them being stuck on plastic card. And it adds a little feature there, as I zoom out, it adds a little feature above the wall. Now just further over here, I've got this triangular piece in, but as you see I haven't cut it correctly, so what I'm going to do, if I've got any spare bits going, and I might well have, my plan is to get a new bit cut that will actually marry up there and keep that gap away, and that'll maybe just be the pathway that goes into that, and I might have the entrance to a DIY store here. So obviously I can't glue this down until I get this sorted, but that'll be a job that I'll try and do in the near future. But I'm getting towards the end of the gardening season. I still want to get bits of it tidied up, so it's going to take time to do that. Now I've painted these blue here, but I may actually go for a darker blue for the doors, and then if I actually just tip the camera like that, you can actually see in here what I've done is I've put some cork underlay down. I'll eventually cover that with some sort of tarmac scatter to make it look more realistic, and then I'll paint the top of this here a dark grey colour. So that's obviously that bit there. Now for along here, what I cannot do is simply put another building in there, because obviously you've got to have access to the ground, so I'm looking at the prospect of putting another small piece of plywood in here, and just painting it blue so that it's there for everybody could see it, but it also gives sort of space for the stadium as well. Now at long last we have some platforms in place, and this actually is quite a good bit to show you how I actually end up making them, getting the tops made for them. This is the original MDF bit that's been cut. Now this one here is not actually screwed down, as you could see there, but what I'll do is I'll check clearances and screw it down. Once it's all screwed down, what I'll then do is pin this balsa wood here to it, and what will then happen is I'll take some card, and I've put one layer on, glue one layer onto here, let it dry, then glue another layer on, and then it's at this point where I use the stuff from Scale Scenes that I downloaded. I mentioned that in the July update. And what I'll do is I then glue the platform surface down, and then the platform edging goes down. There is a problem, and you can actually see it here. It's turned out a rather green colour, and I know why. David Watson on Dean Park Station in one of the earlier videos had the same problem with some ballast, and it seems to relate to the PVA glue. He used a glue from Homebase for some ballasting and it worked fine, but he used a B&Q glue and it seemed to turn a little green tint, and I suspect that's what's happened here. Either that or I've used too much glue. I'm just going to have to live with it now. So what I've done is I've got platforms 5 and 6 now fully done, and I've got the correct shape here for the clearance, and I'll just run that in there, and you can see there that would be the sleeper train, and it is just, that's how close it is, but it does go in. We'll run that up to the end here. Platform 6 is going to be the motor rail bay eventually, but I'll do a separate video on that in the near future. But it's unlikely you'll have motor rail trains running on there until 2019. So these two platforms are now done in terms of the platform bases, and the vast majority of the track in the station area is all now renewed. The only bits that aren't renewed is this curve here and this one and the point. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to be able to do that, because I've got 2 new locomotives. One is chipped, but it has a decoder in it, but needs a wee adjustment to its bodywork. The other one needs a DCC decoder, but I'll let you see them in September. Although if you've looked at me on Instagram, you'll already know about them. The process, as you can see here, by the way, with the scale scene, I have to admit, is not very good. My cutting is not very good there. I've used that process, however, right down at the station buffers, and we'll come to that in a minute. I've got this bit from the old layout, because you see that's a piece I cut there for the new layout, but if you look at that there, you can see there's a bit of a considerable drop. So I'm thinking about cutting this bit, putting that there, and maybe trying to reshape this one and put it here instead. So I'm likely only going to need at the very most one of these in future, and I'll have to keep it shaped like that, because obviously for clearances for rolling stock getting in. The platforms themselves, once they're glued down, they are screwed down that same in position, and then it's just a case of running coaches and locos up and down to make sure there's clearances there. Obviously once I get the point and the 2 curves replaced, I'll then be able to go ahead pin the track, put the underlay down, then pin the track down, and then at least then the station area is permanently done in terms of the layout. So we're nearly there, but not quite yet. Now before I show you the buffer stop ends of the station, I'd better explain the little addition that is applied to the layout at the eastern end, and it's actually the turnouts here, and I think you can actually already see them. These dummy point motors, which are shaped like that. Now they're actually manufactured by Pico, and I bought 2 packs from Hatton's in Widnes. Now they could have went in a padded envelope, but they sent them in a box with loads of bubble wrap. I mean, talk about belt and braces, but that's how they've done it. But they add realism to the layout, and I've put some ballast in here now. There'll be no need for speed signs here, because the speed signs will be just out there. It's going to be a 10 mile an hour section anyway. Well, 20 mile an hour, 10 in the depot. The ballast that you see here, the lighter colour stuff, isn't glued down yet, and that's not going to be glued down for quite some time. We've got a wee while to go yet before that happens. But that's the additions that I've got there. I bought 2 packs, as I say. I think I'm going to have more than enough for all the points in the station. The only question I've got to ask all of you is, can these point motors also be used in depot areas such as here, maybe into the engine shed as well? I don't know if they can or not. If the depot is modernised, that would be a very good use for them, but I'm going to throw that one open to yourselves. I mentioned in the July update that I was going to be buying a brand new building for the station area, so it would be 2 station buildings, and this is what I was referring to. It's a Bachmann product, and it's actually sold as a ladies' waiting room and a toilet. Sorry, it's sold as a waiting room and a ladies' toilet. And there's actually, and we would have little signs to the left and right of the door. I wanted it for another purpose, so what I had to do was very carefully break off the signs that were pointing out there, and very carefully paint out the lettering on the doors there. And what we've now got here is a branch of WH Smith and a parcels point. Now the WH Smith has double-ended, so there's an entrance to it at the back as well. And the parcels point has an entrance only at this end here, which is at the buffer stops. And the signage for the parcels point I bought from Sankey Scenics, and I'll let you see that right now. This is it here. Now, you pay about £3.99 for this, and this is what you get. There's a website there as well. And what you can do is you cut them out with a craft knife or scissors. And what I'd done with the parcels point sign was I actually stuck it straight on, as indeed I'd done with the Red Star sign at the front. And you see the information at the back there again. That was one that I stuck on there as well. They were just stuck on directly, didn't use any plastic card for them. The WH Smith signage that you see there, that was actually using Google Images, done a search, found that, and then I went and copied and pasted it, printed it out, and what I've done is I've stuck that onto some plastic card, and it is an ideal fit, as you can see there. And I'll just zoom that in a little bit, and you'll actually be able to see that it has the correct WH Smith logo for the period 1989, the cube logo. Now I know that in Scotland it was John Menzies that had the station shops, and WH Smith bought the John Menzies retail arm in 1997. WH Smith at the time of the takeover of John Menzies did have 3 high street branches in Scotland. I think they were in the west of Scotland, however, but they didn't have any branches at railway stations or bus stations in Scotland at the time. They do now, including my own local hospital. So there is a little bit of artistic licence being used there, but it's trying to keep it in terms of the time in the era. The other station building is the main ticket office, and I've got some signage for that, which I have, and it was also ordered from Sankey Scenics, and it's personalised, and it costs about £10 to get this done, I think. But this is what I've got here. I'll just lay it on top of the building, you can see there. I emailed them with what I wanted, and they've printed out all these various signs. Clydebridge stations, Clydebridge, ScotRail, and I'll be able to put these to use in various points of the station. There's posters of the era, passenger network poster. We've always also got information screens, information leaflet racks, timetables. There are actually quite a few signs here. I'll actually do for my layout at the depot area as well, and one for the tunnel. So I've got quite a few photos that I can, signs that I can use there. and I'll start to put them to good use in the near future. And I'm thinking of possibly using this one here on a sign on the approach to the station at the corner where the triangular piece of wood was that I mentioned earlier. There'll be more station furniture getting delivered in the near future as well. I've only got a couple of brute trolleys, but I'll do them more in the future. I've been advised by Sean Leonard in Sheffield not to glue down the station buildings, and I won't be doing that. I'll instead be creating white BR style fencing out of plastic card, and I'll maybe try and put something in there. I don't know what I'm going to put in there, but a possible cycle rack, I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet, but clearly I would like to put something there. The buildings could be moved around a bit too. This building needs to stay around about here because obviously this will be where the motor rail ramp is. So there'll be quite so that's really about its limit I could take to. I could move it there, but it'd be too close. So I think that's probably its limit because also it'll be for parcels trains as well. I'll just bring you back up here as well to show you that I'm going to paint this part here grey. And the buffer stops, I've seen something on I think it was Pico's website. You can actually get some illuminated lights that work on DCC. You can either buy the buffer stops with the lights, or you can just buy the lights on their own, and they just clip into the back there and seemingly work on, when you've got it on DCC, they actually come on. So I might actually end up buying a couple of them in the near future as well. However, what I'm going to be doing next month track-wise and that is going to be limited because I've got my car going in for a small repair soon. Hopefully it's not too expensive, but you know what cars are like. So I'm not intending to spend too much money on the layout, and therefore I might not be spending too much time on the layout as well. We'll see what happens. Now, just before I go, several layouts worth mentioning. David Watson at Dean Park, he's actually recently done a video on the St Andrews Model Railway exhibition. I was unable to attend, but David's attended on your behalf and he's shot some footage from it. Everard Johnson's just brought out a new video with two new purchases, two Class 121 bubble car DMUs. So have a watch of that and see what you think. That's in the Network South East era. I mentioned to you I've got two brand new locomotives for the layout. Now one of them does carry a large logo livery, but you'll see that in another video. Now the gentleman that bought me that gave me the name of his YouTube channel and the name of his layout. It's Railfreight37 is his YouTube ID. His layout is called Ulton, O-U-L-T-O-N TMD. Check that out as well. And there's obviously New Junction as well, which is out there. And also worth mentioning to you that there's quite a few layouts in the Network South East era. One at the very start of that era is by Cheeky Tech, and it's called Old Oak Bridge. So if you check him out as well. Now in September, as I say, I've got my car going in for repair. I've got a holiday coming up when I'm going to be off work for a week. But we're going to visit some friends, so there's not going to be too much work done on the layout. But there will be an update in September, and I'll probably do a separate video showing you two new Class 47s that I'll have on my layout. And I hope to God as well that by that time Oxford Rail will finally have their Mark III coaches out in ScotRail livery, so we could actually have a proper to scale length push-pull train, and we can actually finally get this running. If you're actually wondering, by the way, about if I'm going to be doing a running session video at all, yes I will be, but it'll probably be next year. I'll need to obviously acquire a shunter and some more locos. But I would hope next year I'll have a running session video for you, at least one anyway. So that's all I've got for you this month on the layout. Thank you very much for watching this month's video, and I shall see you next month with hopefully some more work done at the station and those 2 new arrivals. Bye bye for now.